speaking from a traditional point of view of Buddhism, that there is big misunderstanding universally, and both Easterners and Westerners believe in ego. And the ego is the subject of discussion, and the ego is subject of development and hope, the only hope, and those things be presented. But on the other hand, the Buddhist point of view is not particularly that of the Eastern point of view or the Western point of view particularly, but somehow peculiarly Buddhistic, which doesn't belong to a particular category. That Buddha, for instance, refused to identify himself with the national ego of India at the time. And he broke through systems, caste systems, all kinds of other systems, and he even broke through his own meditation master, that he found that something's wrong there at the time. And the only conclusion that he came up is that maybe there's a wrongness, which is traditional knowledge of dukkha, suffering, and maybe such suffering does not belong to anybody at all. That maybe there is another possibility, is that even this doesn't exist, that you don't exist, and maybe that's the message of transcending from samsara to nirvana is entirely different category. So I think if you stick too much in terms of debating between the East and the West theory, somehow we don't get the message across. I'm not saying particularly Buddha was a smart person, and I'm all for it particularly, but it's a different perspective that Buddha has presented, has a different dimension altogether. Humanistic person, 2,500 years ago, who disbelieved in humanism, or egoed, whatever, which is, I think, subject that we are discussing in terms of psychology, and therefore teaching of the Buddha had become highly psychological oriented from that point onward, rather than behavior oriented as such, or culture oriented as such, that it's a non-cultural thing. It's a sort of revolutionary idea, which still could be more revolutionary as time goes on, in my way of thinking, anyway. So I think there is a point there that all kinds of behavior patterns that we could present to make ego less or egohood, but at the same time we are doing something with it. And the real idea seems to be is that to find out, discover, is there anything at all? That's the question that nobody has really looked at.